Council and European Parliament on issues related to education. Previously, he was a researcher and a policy officer in the same organization. We're very delighted to have you here, and please, the floor is yours, and would like to request you to finish your presentation in 3 minutes, please.
Thank you. I have to say, for someone who is not Catalan, the pronunciation of my name doesn't get any better, so no need to apologize. So I wanted to reflect on the consensus reached on the right to education from a civil society perspective. So education, we heard a lot about education, but what is the aim of education? Is it social cohesion? Is it inclusion? Well, the main aim of the right to education, it's established in Article 26 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and also in Article 13 of the International Covenant on Economic, Social and Cultural Rights. And it has two aims. First, the full development of the human personality, and second, the strengthening of respect for human rights and fundamental freedoms. It says education shall promote understanding, tolerance, and peace. It is relevant to think when these consensus were reached. This was after the Second World War. Both the founding fathers of the declarations and the states agreed that the right to education has to enable citizens to fully develop in freedom, and they were also convinced that the full development of the human being was compatible with the strengthening peace. When I think about the way the right to education is conceived, human rights mechanisms, the first word that came to mind is trust. Trust of the international community towards the free human being. They were so confident when they drafted that. They were so confident in the human nature that they acknowledge even parents as the first educators. Article 26.3 states parents have a prior right to choose the kind of education that shall be given to their children, an article that was proposed by the Netherlands at the time. Where did this confidence and trust go? Today we are in a rapidly changing world. I cannot remember in my 32 years of life such a violent context and such a potentiality of disaster. And yet the word trust in the human being, in the human family, is absent from most of political discussions, including educational ones. It seems sometimes solutions only can come from a controlled vertical relationship between authorities and citizens. Yet, if we work in education, it's because we have hope, and hope that there are beautiful and good things in this world that are worth transferring from one generation to the other, and hope in humanity. In light of the new challenges, and despite the tensions, the international community has agreed recently on a common goal on education, the Sustainable Development Goal 4, which states, ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. Just 3 notes on that. First, education has to be inclusive and equitable for all, and that means equal accessibility, but also that the content and the pedagogies are acceptable and adaptable for all, especially for the most vulnerable ones. Second, education cannot be limited to childhood, but through all stages of life. If education is essential for our dignity and to lift the spirits, it just makes sense that the right encompasses all stages of life. And third, education cannot be limited to reading, writing, and numeracy. The notion of quality, as we were seeing, is more important than ever. We cannot love, own, and transform the world we live in if we do not know who we are, where we live, or how to take moral decisions. The consensus on education of 1946 are still today valid and relevant. Education is still an enabler for citizens to fully develop in freedom, as well as an instrument to strengthening peace. Both seem valid, relevant, and critical dimensions of the right to education. Moreover, the SDG 4 is compatible with this consensus, and it sheds light on the focus of the challenges of the moment: inclusion, quality, and lifelong learning perspective. If I can send a message to the international community from a civil society perspective, and also taking the wisdom when we talk about education, I'm thinking from Socrates to Confucius to Paulo Freire, trust in the human being has been critical. Trust the human being. Let's provide him with a holistic, rooted, humanistic education. Let him own the world. Let him be aware of what we have done right and also what we have done wrong, teach them how to think and reason, and do not prevent them to have roots or faith. Trust the communities, trust the civil society, and trust the families. Indeed, trust, freedom, and flourishment of the human being are risky. But if we work on education, it is because we believe in the human being. Therefore, it is worth trying. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your